So now chapter 4, we're back in the soldier's point of view. Ava's guest room was just as perfect as he thought it would be. She was neat, tidy, and organized. Which is why I'm confused, because in chapter 3, this girl said that she was wild and crazy and that Dylan probably couldn't get with her lifestyle, which is honestly kind of funny for her to think, considering that she's just like, not just, but considering that she's a baker and I guess is just like, she has fun is what she means by wild. But this man was a soldier. I'm pretty sure he can adjust to your bakery. He does point out though that Ava would say that her space is wild and crazy, but he knew better. It's not much, she said from the doorway. It's perfect. Maybe. You're probably used to better accommodations. Are you kidding? Sweetie, I've been eating chow hall food and living in the dorms. Trust me, this is heaven. Chow hall? Sorry, military speak. I feel like Kitty Jones was trying to sprinkle in there that she did do some research about what it's like to be in the military. She was like, let me just throw some lingo in there. Sounds nice and convenient. She's trying to say that a chow hall, which is, I'm gonna equate it to a college dining hall, but it's definitely not even that nice. Like, that's an upgrade. And she's saying it sounds nice. Okay, so out of nowhere, he's like, they were trapped together. And even though they had been friends forever, there was this new sort of sexual tension between them. He wasn't sure what to do about it. They're both such a mess, and it's honestly quite entertaining. So she thanks him for ordering the groceries. And he's like, it was no big deal. No, it wasn't nothing. I've been on my own for a long time, she said. And one thing I've learned and one thing I've learned is that you can't count on people. That's what she'd learned. That was sad. That is true. That is sad. But like, same. You can count on me, Cupcake. I bet you though, if I was like 15, I mean, if I was 15, I wouldn't read this. But if I was 15 and I had read that, I probably would have thought it was cute. Also, I just am kind of grossed out by it because, like, I feel like every YA romance novel or every, like, teen movie has a male lead love interest that talks like that. Like, he'll just be out of nowhere. He's like, hey, darling. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, cupcake. Hi, love. And it's like, ew, like, why? Why are you just throwing out random pet names that aren't even cute? And then she kissed him. Oh, snap. It was soft and sweet and tender and almost hesitant. That was great, she said. It was. He wanted to kiss her for years and years, and it was hard to believe that it was actually happening. It was perfect. It's been a long time since I've kissed anyone, she admitted. Me too. How long? He thought for a moment. A few months, he told her. I like how that's a long time, like, and then there's me like, well, maybe I kissed somebody in like 2015. He wasn't scared to admit it. There was nothing in his past he was ashamed of, except for the fact that he hadn't married Ava the moment they had both turned 18. What? I'm mad. Because there's no, like, they keep on saying over and over again, oh, they were best friends in their childhood. Oh, they were best friends in their youth. But there's nothing in the text here that would prove that they are in love and that there would be any reason for him to want to marry her. Other than, it sounds like they were friends and they both had crushes on each other. And no one ever said how they felt. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, like, it's obvious that they're both in love with each other. Like, what? Me too, she said. It's kind of bad, you know, but I've just been really busy with work. There's nothing wrong with being busy with work. Dylan, you spanked me earlier. The shift in the conversation. I know. I've never done that before. I suspected as much. Do you always demand respect from your partners? Yes, he told her. He wasn't going to hide it. That was part of who he was. He was the one in charge. You're very honest, she said carefully. You seem surprised. Most of the guys I date are very ... carefully about what they say to partners. Oh, I guess she just means careful. Is that so? That's so. Is that so? I feel like most people are like kind of open because they want to make sure that their partner's comfortable with it. Like, you know, isn't that how it works? I'm not going to tell you I'm not like all of the other guys because that would be a lie. All guys are similar in some ways. I will tell you that I don't lie to the women I date. You wouldn't lie to me. I would never lie to you. What if I asked you a really hard question? What is this exchange of dialogue? I don't know why. It just feels very young to me. It does not, to me, sound like two grown people. Trust me, Cupcake. No matter what you want to ask me, I'll be honest with you. Okay, she said, nodding. Then I have one question. Anything. Get ready. Get ready for it, guys. Dylan, will you tie me up and do me? She was a little surprised when he didn't say no right away. Why? He asked instead. Because I'm attracted to you and you're attracted to me and we're here. Yeah, great reasoning. Great logic behind that decision, girl. Oh, little Cupcake. I'm not sure if that's enough. You're bored? Well, no, she said, and she realized he wasn't going to be as easy as she'd hoped. Maybe she had been with guys before who could be easily manipulated, but he wasn't one of them. He was going to require additional persuasion. Oh, hell no! I like how she uses the word manipulation. What if you think to yourself, oh, most other guys are so easy to manipulate into having sex with me? Like, maybe you're the problem, sis? Also, you shouldn't have to persuade someone into being with you. Like, if they don't want to be with you, then just be like, okay, and find someone who does. This was Dylan, after all, and they had known each other for an eternity. They had liked each other for an eternity. This was her chance to prove to him that she could be just as wild and crazy as he needed her to be.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But didn't she say that she was the wild and crazy one and that he wouldn't be able to fit into her lifestyle? I mean, obviously there's no like real plot to this book because I mean nothing has really happened, but I don't know. The background is really the background knowledge is really imploding on itself. And I'm upset by it if you couldn't tell. So he asked, so your previous relationships have been pretty vanilla, she offered. You know the term? Yes. How? Is that like a term that most people don't know? I had a friend. So basically her friend called her vanilla, so that's why she knows what it means. You're about as vanilla as they come, Cupcake. Ew. Like, can you imagine someone saying that to you? Ew. She says, I know, but I bet you're a good teacher. Ava, this isn't a game to me. This is part of who I am, and I take it seriously. I know. It's not a game to me either. I know you're nervous about quarantine. Wait, does he think she's doing all this because she's nervous about being quarantined for 2 weeks? He softened his voice and was very gentle with her. How? Because he said the words nicely? It seemed like he was trying to placate her, to soften her up. It didn't bother her as much as she thought it should. The truth was that Ava's life had been a little rough around the edges. Most people didn't soften their words or thoughts when it came to her, even though she thought they should have. I'm really confused on how any of this correlates. Okay, in the next breath, literally the next breath, it says, she also felt like he was protecting her a little too much. She wasn't the same little girl he had left behind. She was a grown woman. She had her own business. She was a baker. She had managed to make a name for herself in the community, and that was not something that everyone could do. He was treating her like a delicate flower. So she's, what? So she likes that he's nice to her because other people aren't, I guess, but she's also like, he's being too nice and sensitive with me and too gentle. They had to spend 2 weeks together. She wasn't going to do the thing where the day before quarantine ended, she'd confess her feelings. He should know now. She had liked him for a very long time because there were so many things to like about Dylan. Are there? Because so far, neither of them have very much personality to me. I mean, I understand that this is a novella. So obviously, it's not going to be like super built up, but like, I don't care about either of these characters, and I don't care about them getting together. And also, I don't think it's been made very clear that they actually like each other outside of just being attracted to each other. But he still saw her as a child. Well, girl, then maybe you don't want to get with him. I'm not nervous. Then why the sudden proposition? Dylan, I've liked you for a long time, she blurted out. There, she had said it. She had been totally honest with him and told him how she felt. How was he going to respond? Yeah, it might have taken getting locked up together to force her to admit her feelings, but they were nothing new. For years she had pined for him and dreamed of him. She saw him in the face of every boyfriend she had had. She was always thinking about him. It was unhealthy, really. I love how casually it's like, yeah, she's obsessed with him. It's really unhealthy. She has like such an attachment to him. It literally says he was like an addiction, like the red velvet cupcakes she liked to bake. But like, here's the funny thing to me. If this man was an addiction to you and you were so into him, why haven't you talked to him in years while he was in the military? Why didn't either of them admit that they had feelings for each other before he left? I mean, yes, like maybe they were sad to break up their friendship, but like at this point it's been years. And if she's been obsessed with him the whole time he was away, why would she not tell him in a letter or whatever? Is that so? You never said anything before you were away, and I figured you thought I wanted to bang my way through the army? He asked carefully. Wait, that doesn't even make sense. I didn't think people in the military even got many opportunities to like be with other people. Like, what? She said, I thought you deserved not to be tied down to anyone, and he nodded in understanding. So they talk about how they miss each other, and he's like, yeah, I like you too. He says, well, you know, I thought you deserved not to be tied down to anyone. Is that true? She didn't want to be not tied down to anyone. She wanted all of that and more. So basically she's like, see, I'm confused. I can't even like explain it properly because she's saying she didn't want to be not tied down to anyone. So I was thinking, oh, she's referring to she did want to be in a relationship with him, right? Because that's what you would think. But no, that's not what she means, because she says that was exactly what she wanted. She wanted him to pull out some rope and bind her wrists together. So she wants him to tie her up. But like, that's not what he's talking about. He's not talking about physically tying her up. He was talking about liking her and wanting to be in a relationship with her. I think it's funny though how it's like he's the bad guy because he's into like kinky stuff, and yet this girl every 10 seconds is like, I want him to do X, Y, and Z to me. Even though I'm vanilla. Yes, he said, but Ava, I'm different now. You're kinky. I'm kinky and you're a sweet girl, but I don't know if you realize exactly what I want to do. I can't imagine any real human people having this type of dialogue. She could brat. She could be naughty. She could use her words and her body and her teasing to convince her dom to do what she wanted. What does it mean she could brat? Like, do they mean she could be a brat? I don't know what that has to do with anything. That was part of the fun, wasn't it? I know exactly what you want to do and I want that too. You're vanilla, he repeated. He's like, you're vanilla. No, you don't. I think you're just scared, she taunted. What did you say? Oh, I think you heard me just fine. I think the big bad dom is suddenly frightened of a wee little vanilla cupcake.
Hold on, pause this shit. What the fuck is going on in here on this day?
That's like one of the worst lines of dialogue I've ever read. And I've read a lot of bad books. You don't know what you're saying. Yes, I do. But if you're too afraid, ... And it just kind of ends there. So he kisses her. What are you doing? She whispered through the kiss. I'm calling your bluff, he told her. I wasn't bluffing. You might regret this. With you, never. What's going on here is not appropriate to be read, despite me not being monetized. But if I was monetized, I would definitely get demonetized for this. But he keeps on calling her a cupcake the whole time, and I'm really upset by it. This sex scene is literally like almost 2 chapters long of this one scene. Oh, wait, nope, I lied. It's actually like 3 chapters long. It keeps on going. Oh! And I just skimmed through all of that, and there's an epilogue now. Oh, you've changed, she wiggled her eyebrows, but from what I can see, it's in all the very best ways. She leaned forward and placed a kiss on his lips, and this time Dylan was the one who thought his heart might soar. She was a little baker who had somehow managed to worm her way into his heart, and he didn't plan on ever letting her go. Epilogue. Ava looked at the world's most beautiful bakery and sighed with contentment. She had done it. She had finally gotten back into the bakery and she was working her butt off day in and day out. This time, though, things were different. This time, she had more to live for than just making amazing cupcakes. Now she had the love of a good man to keep her grounded and happy. He had been with her for years, silently cheering her on and loving her from afar. She had always felt the same way. Is that what was going on? Because y'all didn't talk. It had taken getting locked up together, quarantined, to make the relationship really stick. Y'all didn't have a relationship before that, and the basis of your relationship is literally sex. So I'm confused. I mean, we're at the end, so we don't have time to unpack any of that, I guess. The front door to the bakery jingled, and she looked up to see him walking inside. Dylan always walked with a certain swagger. She loved it. She couldn't pinpoint exactly what she loved about it, except that it was his. Hey, he smiled at her. Hey, she grinned. I heard there were cupcakes for sale today. Why, yes there are, she winked at him. What kind can I offer you, sir? How about chocolate fudge with a dab of super sweet baker? Me? You, he agreed. I'm not okay with this. He loved her, she knew. He loved her and nothing was ever going to change that. They might have some hard times. They might fight or disagree or struggle to get along all of the time. But the two of them had something that nobody could take away from them. They had love and they had hope. So I just have to disagree with the idea that if you fight with someone all the time and you can't get along with them, that you can still be with them because you love them.